Welcome to Luxury in Black. I'm your host, Shari Tisdale. First, let me say happy Juneteenth. It is a incredible, glorious sunny day here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we are truly excited to honor Juneteenth and to celebrate. We, as you've heard me talk about many times, we celebrate Juneteenth really big here in my neck of the woods. The festivals and activities are going and events have been phenomenal. We're going to get into a little bit as I share. We kicked off last weekend. We actually kicked off on the 14th with Tulsa Juneteenth with our latest luxury fashion show, which was absolutely everything. And so excited to have one here, Tamara Lockett, a hat designer called Flip the Hats, which if you have seen any of the visuals on Luxury in Black, we are showcasing some of her work and the designs she featured in the show, which were absolutely amazing. Looking forward to chatting with her here in a few minutes, hearing her story, her journey, and what she is bringing to that's really changing the game, not only in fashion, but with mental health. But as we move into, I do want to say if this is your first time tuning in to Luxury in Black, I want to say thank you, first of all. We are a dedicated platform designed to amplify the voices and celebrate Black designers and creators we promote Black excellence. And we like to do that and showcase it in our everyday lives. Our goal is to keep a continuous conversation going on what living in Black excellence, living in Black luxury, what that looks like. And we love nothing more than to share and talk about all of the phenomenal creators that across the globe, but I certainly love highlighting those right here in Oklahoma. Well, as we've been talking, it is Juneteenth, the official day. So excited to see that we are actually honoring it as a federal holiday. That is such a major, major accomplishment and feat. And out earlier today and seeing so many people, as I said, in our community, really patronizing, setting up, getting ready for the upcoming events, the festivals taking place the rest of this week through Sunday, but just seeing the patronage and support at outpour in supporting Black businesses, which is so, so important. And very apparent that something we just have to do, and glad to see that that is being established. If you're in our neck of the woods in Oklahoma, we encourage you, we are held as having the largest Juneteenth in the United States, and we've held that record for quite some time. And we have a lot of wonderful major events that are taking place dealing with mental health. As I said, we had the fashion show we kicked off with on the 14th. There's a movie night featuring Black Panther this week. We have a block party that is going to really get the festivities kicked off that takes place this evening here in what they call Deep Greenwood. So if you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you definitely want to be on the historic Greenwood Avenue because you will have the vendors, you have the food trucks, you have music. It is a whole vibe. It is so exciting to be right in the thick of everything and just really enjoying this now beautiful weather. We're so excited to see the sun come out because it has been nothing but storms the past few days, but we are excited to say this weekend is going to be awesome. Again, on Friday, tomorrow night, the music festivals kick off. Rolls Royce National Recording artists will be the headliners, and a lot of phenomenal local artists will be performing. And then on Saturday, the 21st, they have a 5K run. We have an entrepreneur luncheon that will be taking place in the afternoon. And then that evening will be Lakeside as the headliner. And again, multiple phenomenal local artists who are also equally as talented. It will be a night to be remembered. It's always, always explosive and record crowds. They're anticipating 50,000 this year, but it always ranges somewhere between 30,000 people in attendance throughout the festival event. Closes out on Sunday, the 22nd at Living Arts, what they're calling Sue's Teenth. Our theme this year is family ties, family reunion. It's all about legacy. It's all about family. It's all about empowerment. And it is just all about creating excellence and success within our communities across the globe. So we extend happy Juneteenth everywhere. We hope everyone is celebrating and acknowledging and supporting, uplifting, and most of all, just putting out positive vibes, because we certainly are in a time and a place where we need that. And it is the positive vibes that can really change and turn things around. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back. And when I do, we will have with us Tamara Lockett. We're also going to be joined with a guest, a friend of hers, Greg Ellis. And not only will we be talking about fashion, but I love talking about fashion with a purpose. And nothing is more important than our mental health. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes. At Rubicon, we believe every meal should be an experience. Nestled in the heart of North Tulsa, we bring you bold flavors, locally sourced ingredients, and a dining atmosphere like no other. From our signature dishes to expert crafted cocktails, every bite tells a story, perfect for any occasion. Live music on Thursdays with house band Upscale Smoke. Rubicon is not just another smokehouse, it's a whole vibe. Join us at Rubicon, where taste meets tradition. Rubicon Restaurant, the Upscale Smoke experience. Well, again, I want to say how much I enjoyed your designs. Your hats are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure being on your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love nothing more than recognizing exceptional talent and showcasing the great work. And I can't wait to hear also more about your mission and you sharing your journey with us, because I think that is so, so important and so impactful.
It's been a journey, of course. I did my first one in 1990.
Wow. Oh, so you have been doing this for a while.
Well, no, I did my first two in the late 1990s for my spiritual mother, both of my spiritual mothers. You probably know one, Sister Mary Beard.
Yes.
Yeah, she was the second person I ever made a hat for.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and I spoke with her a couple of months ago, and she was like, "Yes, I still have it." And I had a seamstress to make an outfit to go with her hat, and she was hosting an event out on the fairgrounds for Smoky Norfolk. And so I was like, "Yes, I have to make you a hat." So that was my second hat I ever made. And then I was just like, I made two hats for the women that have deposit in my life. I'm not making no more. This was for you guys. And then fast forward to like 2006, I dabbled back into it because I was working with the youth, and I'm end up making this hat that moved. And I was like, oh wow. So then I left it alone. And then 2014, I went back and revisited. And then that's when I start working on a patent. So I did my own patent.
And and what made you, uh, like, you knew you had created something that which is totally unique, and getting a patent, that's not easy, or is it?
No, it's not easy, and definitely I did it before ChatGPT.
Okay.
So
I
if
love
I would
that.
have did it in the era of ChatGPT, it would have been easier.
Right.
I but I
You
just
did it the real way.
yeah, I just started doing my research, started looking on YouTube. Everybody is teaching and sharing their knowledge. So I just started doing all my research and I just took it step by step. And yes, when I would send it in, it would get rejected. So my very first one was the hair hat. And that one got rejected totally. And I was like, okay, so I seen what I did wrong. And I came back and redid it again with Flip the Hat. And which I'm glad I did because it was a movement, which is a movement right now online with I hate the hair hat. So I'm glad that got rejected.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Now, what was the difference between the hair hat and flip the hat? Was it a lot of difference in the technique and the design that you did?
No, my design is still the same, but
Okay.
the hair hat is you you didn't seen them before. It's the caps, like a ball cap, and they stitch hair
Yeah.
around. So
Yes.
it's a movement that's against those hats, which my hat is totally different.
Right.
But I was naming it the same thing,
Mm.
but that got rejected. So I came back and redid my patent with Flip the Hat.
And how did you come up with that particular technique, that design?
Well, the Flip the Hat came by accident, but the initial hat, it was made for my godmother, and I put some braids and glued it on the cardboard, and I made it look like goddess braid.
Okay.
What she used to like. See, now today, goddess braids is different from the 1990s goddess braid.
Okay. And I think I remember because the goddess braids in the 90s was it more of a updo?
Yes, it was just
Okay.
a braid that went around up like a crown.
That's what, okay. I remember that.
So when you think of and you look at my hats, when they're sitting up, they give you the illusion of the goddess braid.
Okay.
And I have that crown look. So, but now it just flipped. So when I went back to revisit to try to remake it,
Mhm.
I I I started stitching it. And so that's what made it start moving. I was like, "Oh, this is nice." And then I just kept creating and, by default, just kept creating and I end up coming up with my final product.
And then is that the one that you then submitted your patent for after you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the design of it is because hats have already been patented, of course.
Right.
What I patent is actually the way my hat moves.
And because with the design, because yeah, the construction, they can flip down, flip up,
Yes, ma'am.
but yet it sits like a crown, correct?
Yeah. But one hat, depending on the size,
Uh
if
huh.
medium to large, that one hat can flip in 20 styles.
The one hat?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, how amazing.
So we didn't get a chance to do all that, but it can go from a crown to a bucket hat to a cowgirl hat to, yes, it can flip.
Oh, Greg, welcome to Luxury in Black.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. Tamara was sharing her incredible patent, her design, and been talking about her journey, how she accomplished that. And we're certainly going to be moving into what the purpose behind it, which I am really, really excited to hear.
Yeah.
what you both are doing and the impact that it's making, which
Yeah.
is so imperative, so imperative.
Thank you. I just like to vouch for those hats that Tamara has made.
Yes.
They are amazing. I've seen them several times. A lot of versatility, and so you buy one that you're getting a lot of use out of it to match the way you're feeling, to match your outfit for that day, and so a very unique creation from her.
I love that because I did not realize, and that, as being at the show, it was amazing. They were absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
And we're showcasing it on our visuals that are going out from the show, but did not know one hat could become so many different styles. And I absolutely love that. I just really hope everyone hones in on that you definitely have to get one to have that experience, because how fun is that? I love a hat, but that's a must. I got to get one.
Yeah.
So, the craze now, Tam, I'm sure, do you do a lot of cowboy? I mean, or your hats can go, because, everybody wants a cowboy hat right now.
Yes, and that's my favorite style.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to connect with you on that one because I've been looking for a good one, and yours would be so different. I love that.
Especially with the boots on the ground.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
You gotta have that. That is wonderful. I do want to ask you now, did you all work together on bringing your brand's mission, which is really powerful? I love that, flipping negative thoughts into positive vibes. And how did that mission come about?
I met Tamara at an event one night, and a guy named Jim Austin, and he introduced me to her. And I was already just like her, we already was working in the space of mental wellness. I mean, she already had her hats going, and she told me about them that night at that event. And so since then, we've been working out with each other, doing some stuff with each other, seeing how we can help each other on the mission that we both are on. And so, yeah, she's a great person.
Abs-
You are too.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, and you stated, Greg, that you both work in the mental health space.
Mhm.
Is that in on your day-to-day professional lives? If you both could tell me a little bit about that.
You want to go first, Tamara?
Yes, my mission is my hat is like the secret. If you remember The Secret when it came out, it's all about the way you think, your mindset.
Right.
So that pretty much when I asked God, okay, God, guide me, order my steps, and he said, it's pretty much the secret. If you think
Right.
positive, you bring positivity to you. I said, okay. Because I have been through things where mental health has weighed me down. I was that one that was suffering in silence before. So I understand when people are going through things. So I was like, okay, Lord, this has to be for mental health. And I've been rocking with that ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so for as myself, obviously coming from a football background,
Okay.
last 5 years, I was coaching full time. First 4 years, I was a head football coach at two different small colleges. Last year, I was an assistant D-line coach with the Cowboys. And so this year, I am just fully available and working on the nonprofit, the mental wellness nonprofit that we call Getting My Help. That's the name of it. And so we've had it about 2 years, but I hadn't been able to really, push it really hard and to really work to accomplish the mission the way I wanted to. And so now that I'm not going to be coaching this football season, working very diligently and hard on accomplishing the mission, and that is helping to erase and attack those negative stigmas that's associated with people getting help with a mental disorder. And, we have an app that provides a convenient avenue for people to use, and that they can contact several different local mental health care providers right there and there in their community. So we are currently going around to different states and cities doing our mental wellness symposium, which involves we introduce the app to people. We then secondly show the film. The movie we have is called My Dear, hadn't been released to the public yet. And so people get a thrill out of that. And then we have a panel discussion. The panelists are made up local to that particular city, local mental health care providers. And they share some information about the movie, the three main characters in the movie. And then we open up. The fourth thing is we open up for a Q&A from the audience so they can ask those panelists whatever questions they may have about mental health.
That is so awesome and so needed.
Yeah.
And now, do you all do you collaborate and work together? Do you, when you're promoting from the app and the movie, are you all working collectively together?
I just recently did an event for a fashion show for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I give acknowledgement for getting my help, along with trying to raise funds so he can actually go out to city and promote his movie, My Dear, along with getting my help. So that's what I'm doing, as trying to bridge that gap with the community to let them know that there's help out here. So when I do my fashion show, I bring in different mental health organizations, as well as his organization is like a hub where anyone, because he's reaching out to all 50 states. So anyone can go onto his site and look up and find any help resources in that area. So I use my fashion show to promote.
I love that. I love that combination. And Tamara, you were stating from your platform, and you're stating that a part of the flip is flipping negative thoughts into a positive vibe. What is that feeling when you say that, in terms of, with your designs, that impact? Is that like from a mental standpoint, when people are wearing your product, is that a part of your goal that, that the step that will help, change whatever is going on or they may be going through, that when they're wearing your product, that it gives them a sense of empowerment?
Yes. I've battled with the weight of life challenges.
Okay.
Early motherhood, being on my own since I was 14, to overcoming generational trauma and economical hardship. Because being out on your own from 14, that's hard. And I had 3 kids by the age of 20.
Wow.
So I know what it feels like to be overlooked, overwhelmed, and emotional drain. So mental health matters to me because I've seen firsthand of what happened when no one sees you, when you don't have any help. Just like I have to bring in Tyler Perry's movie Straw, because that I can identify with that movie.
Okay.
So the mental components of being young, having children, to have a spiritual mom come in to help me, and especially bring God into my life.
Right.
That's how Flip the Hat was birthed, because she loved hats. She loved wearing them goddess braids. And it's like I kind of combined both of them for her.
Okay.
So she's the one that helped me create this product.
And so with the feeling with the hats, because, we always talk about our crown, but so it's kind of resetting your crown, that adjustment. I like that movement that in the show, with the initial model that stayed, in the center, because she reminded you, she did look like a goddess kind of, but the movement, because she was constantly kind of adjusting the crown. So now I understand that.
Now, do you remember back in the day, now I'm telling my age, how they used to have the jewelry boxes, you open them up and they had the little a queen or a woman in the middle that just turned around and around.
Yes.
That was my vision. That's what I told
I
her.
had one of those boxes, Tamara.
Yeah. So when I told her, I said, when you go out there, you'll never come off the runway until I come out. And she was like, so I'm just going to stay on the runway. I said, yes, because you're going to be a prop. You're a queen. And I just need you to spin around. And she understood the assignment.
She did. She did it very, very well.
Because my thing is, if you're feeling negative, it's all about your mindset.
Exactly.
All you have to do is change it.
I love that.
You can't, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to even get angry. You just can't sit in it.
I love that. And Greg, how are you seeing the combination? Because I love what you're doing with your app. And I know your background is as a coach and in football. Did that spur from the mental, was it primarily, and I know it's not exclusive to men, but was that initially from men that you dealt with from the sports era or as a whole?
Partially and more as partially, I would say that right there. It was, for a lot of things, history, me growing up, people that I've known, and even myself, I deal with anxiety. And so a lot of personal experiences and testimonies just poured all into me. And, just God was calling me to do something to help people. And I had close relationship, but a lot of people who have had, mental turmoil in their life. I mean, some unfortunately ended in suicide, but a lot of them ended in, a low quality of life, if you would. And so a lot of the guys I played with ended up, dying by way of suicide and just, families being destroyed. And so just a lot of hurt. And I want to help people. I hate to see people hurting. I hate to hurt myself. And so, we're just attacking this as much as we can. We're not the only answer. Community approach is needed to attack mental health issue, if you would. And I want to say this, I wasn't able to make it to Tamara's show. I was out, doing stuff for getting my help, matter of fact. But she sent me a small video clip yesterday, I think it was. And that vision that she's talking about with the lady standing there in the middle, it was, even on the video clip she sent me, it was awesome. Very first class. Some amazing stuff, to be honest with you. And so I was really impressed with it.
It really was. And talking to both of you and it definitely epitomized, because that's my thing, is really emphasizing and that we know luxury is not, for me, it's not about stuff. That's not what makes us luxurious. It's really like what you're saying. It's a state of mind. And it is, and I love that, when you know that you own a crown, you are royalty, and just us embracing who we are as a people. And so many times, that when you said that, Tamara, and both Greg, you've talked about, people not feeling seen, people not feeling heard, and the impact of what that can do is overwhelming, and particularly in our community. So I want to commend both of you for stepping up and taking proactive action to really shift and turn that around, because I do think we are in, this world is really wild right now, but so many of our young people, so many people, not just young people, are just out there.
Yes.
Just really having to figure things out. A lot of things that I grew up with, Tamara, when you were talking about showing your age, and I come from that, we had real villages, your neighbors and your you had a whole bunch of aunts, uncles, and grandmas, the neighbors would come out their house and correct you. You know what I'm saying? And there's just so many standards that we've kind of lost as a whole. And so I applaud you for really stepping up. And I want to hear a little bit more, Greg, about what your app does, because that's could be like a really game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah. And as we're doing this interview right now, I'm actually sitting here testing out these new cards that we're making for the app. I was at an event probably 2 weeks ago now, and I can't say the police district or area, but it's a Texas, district. And they were at that event. And so it was a mental wellness event in Dallas. But anyway, so we ended up talking about the app, and I showed them the app, and he said that the police department really can use this.
Mhm.
And he asked me to come over to present it to them. And so my guy just put together a little card for it with the instructions on it. And so I was just looking at that. And so the impact that the app, the possibilities, potential that it can have on society is major. I mean, I thank God for it, because a lot of times one of the biggest stigmas that surrounds, negative stigmas that surround getting help if you're struggling with a mental health disorder, is that people are too embarrassed to ask for the help.
Right.
So they just kind of suffer in silence and refuse to ask somebody, hey, where can I get some help from? And so with our app, like Tamara was saying, you can do all of that right there on the app. I mean, I'll walk you through the steps. First, obviously, you have to download the app. The app is free to download.
Okay.
Yep, you can do it from your Android store or your Apple store. And so once you get it downloaded, you go and select the resource tab. Just click on resources. And once you click on resources, and then you'll see three fields that pop up. One says category, the other says state, and then city. And then you start with category. So you click on category, several different mental health disorders populate. And then you select whichever one that you feel that you are dealing with. And if you don't know, there's a description as well that describes each of those disorders, the traits that come
Wow.
along with it. And so you select whatever disorder you're dealing with, and then you select the state that you reside in, or that you're in right now. And then you select your city. And then once you do that, you hit search, and you scroll down, and you will see about 5 or 6 different mental health care providers that specialize in that particular disorder that you're dealing with. And the good thing about it is they are in your city. So you don't have to worry about, I live in Fort Worth, and it's sending me all the way down to Tyler, Texas to get some help. So no, you don't have that issue. So the resources that populate are all within the city that you select.
And this is in all 50 states?
All 50 states. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. All 50 states should be. Now, obviously, I wasn't able to check every city in every
Right.
state, but it should be in every city. The ones that people have used are in other
Okay.
cities and states. I mean, so yeah, it put together to be in every city in the United States of America.
That is incredible. And Tamara, I want to ask you, because something you said earlier, sharing what you've come through. So can you share from your perspective, had you had this tool in the early stage, as a young, you said as a young mother, young person, overcoming different trials that you were during that time, how would that, having a tool like that, how do you think that would have affected or benefited your life?
It definitely would have benefited me more, because I was in the church. And that's the thing. We have to break that stigma, because the first thing people want to say is go to God,
Yeah.
go to God. But you might need God and a professional.
Yeah. And that's facts. Yes.
Yeah, so, I was raised up, just go to the altar.
Mhm.
Okay. I needed a little more than that. I
Yeah.
was dealing with trauma. If I've been on my own since 14, there was something definitely wrong. But
Mhm.
people just want to say, no, just give it to God. And that's okay. Don't get me wrong. You need
Right.
to give it to
I
God.
hear you. Yeah.
But sometimes you might need to go sit down with a therapist. Some people might need more than that. You might need God, a therapist, and medication.
Exactly.
So it's just depending on what trauma, because everybody's trauma is different.
Mhm.
So it just depends on what you have done, dealt with. But my thing too now, we're dealing with a lot of secondhand trauma, because if you're on social media and you're
Ooh,
scrolling,
that
you're
part.
looking through something somebody else then went through, you didn't took on their trauma. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that's secondhand trauma. So we're all, if you're living, you're dealing with mental health. If you're on social media, you're dealing with somebody else's trauma.
And how I can only imagine, and I'm now a grandmother as well. And I state that, and I'm asking because I love this app because everybody is all about apps. But
Mhm.
how are you seeing this impact? Because something that Tamara said, and I don't think that's really changed. That the lack of resources, particularly for our people, knowing where to go get help, one asking for help, not feeling ashamed,
Mhm.
but when they utilize your app and they're able to do that, does it also provide them with additional resources like, in taking that next step to make that call or
Alright. And so when they find those different resources up there, and so it has that organization, let's say if it's find 5 mental healthcare providers that specialize in anxiety in Dallas. Let's say if I'm using it. And so I can look at all 5 of those organizations' websites. And so it becomes up to the individual at that time to say, okay, let me browse through their websites and see which one that I think fits me best. And so our job is to narrow it down and, be pinpoint with some accuracy to the kind of help that they are looking for. And then and so much to what the app, you know, collage those different choices for you. And then you browse through and select the one that you think best fits you.
wow, that is really, really, really excellent. And how long have you had the app? Is it just new on the market or?
Yes, we've, oh man, we've probably, it's at least been a year, but like I said, I was coaching football last year. And so, especially coaching in the NFL or being a head coach at a college, very
Right.
time consuming. And so I just have not had a chance to do a lot with it, to be honest with you. My heart was in the right place when we created it. And, we talked about it on some platforms while I was playing football. To be honest with you, I was really, how can I put this? I feel like I was doing a disservice because I was on somebody's podcast and a gentleman called, well, I think it was maybe a radio interview because somebody called in the radio station and he said that, how can I use it to get help? And at that time, the framework for this feature was in place, but it wasn't in place like it is right now. And
Okay.
so we had very few resources that was on the app. And so now we had somewhere to send them to, but it was nothing like it is right now. So I know of people who have used it and who have personally told me that, Greg, hey man, I really appreciate this. This came in clutch for me. And so it's such a blessing to know that, it's working out. And that police officer, actually, I was texting him while we were doing this interview, and he literally texted me back right now. So it's good. It's exciting, kind of like Tamara with her hats, when you see it in motion, the thing that God put on to do. And a lot of times you may not see all the resources there the way that you want them to be there, but you take that step of faith and then you see, people starting to use it and wear the hats, use the apps, and it's making a difference by helping people mentally. That's very fulfilling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to ask you, Greg, what ignited, when did you made you develop or recognize that this app was needed?
Oh, so many people suffering in silence. And then I say, okay, well, why are they suffering in silence? And then, to be transparent, I examine myself. It's like, well, Greg, do you want to rush out there and tell people that you deal with anxiety? No, right? A lot of people, it can be seen as a sign of weakness to a lot of people. And so I personally think, research shows it that the number one reason why people don't get help is because they feel like it's showing a sign of weakness. And that's men, women, teenagers, girls and boys across the board. And I was surprised, not so surprised with the guys that, we have a macho way about us and we don't want to cry in public and things like that. And we certainly don't want to admit that we have a mental disorder, any kind of mental disorder. But to my surprise, women also deal with that. Now, it's more acceptable for a woman to cry in public than a man, but nevertheless, women overall still don't want to admit a lot of times to public or to a stranger that, they got some mental turmoil going on.
Absolutely. That is absolutely. Tamara, I want to ask you, how do you stay creatively inspired while managing the emotional depth of building your brand? How do you collaborate those two, merge them together like you do?
Because I want my hats to reach people, like he said, who are silently struggling, and offer them something wearable, a wearable tool of encouragement. Like I said, the hat is like the new secret. If you put it on, because it's sitting on your head.
Right.
Here's your brain. And if you can reprogram that to say, I can make it. I am somebody. I am important. God created me. Because sometimes people, if you abandoned by your parents, I didn't heard it before. I didn't ask to be here, but God made you.
Right. Right.
So it's beyond your parents. God has a purpose for you. So that way, that's what you need to lean on. What am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing here? Not who left you, who abandoned you, who talked about you. It doesn't matter. What are you going to do? So if you could put this hat on and think positive and start moving in that direction, then I feel like my hat is doing what it's supposed to do. And that's why when I create my hats, I'm listening to a sermon. I got positive things going into my ears, and I'm just creating.
Wow. And what I love about that, listening to you and both of you, but with that movement and of that whatever, because you can flip the hat, as you said, whatever it can adjust to, maybe whatever you're going to, you can redirect that thought, by just changing up that. And it is amazing, how that you can it can affect your whole body, your mindset, you change the look of it. It can aesthetically, just make you do a whole mind shift. And I can see, I'm a visual person. So when you were talking, I was like, okay, I can feel that. Yeah. I love that.
And with today being Juneteenth.
Yes.
I feel so good because Miss Opal Lee, she actually made history by helping this be a national holiday. Well, I got to honor her with a flip the hat. And I recorded her, and she literally prayed over my hats. Because she said, you have something here.
Oh, you do. You do. And the combination of what you're both doing is huge. It's really, really powerful. It's right now. It's definitely needed, and something that no one's doing, not like this. And I love the collaboration of awareness, because you both have both said several times, it's like mental health can be like a silent killer, and so many of us really do suffer in silence and battle being embarrassed or lack of resources, no one to talk to. And I really commend you both for, removing those barriers, to help empower people that feel powerless.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is really, really commendable. I want to ask, do you have any upcoming collaborations that you're working on together that we can look forward to seeing?
We don't have concrete dates for anything right now, but for as collaboration, yeah, we talked yesterday, matter of fact. And so Tamara is working on something in Oklahoma to bring our movie premiering symposium to the Oklahoma area, help us get up there. And so collaboration is always going on between us as of right now, unless Tamara got something that I don't know about. We don't have a date for the next actual event.
Okay. And so, Greg, are you in Texas?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, like Tamara said, we're more like a hub, and we work all around the country. And so we have a date coming up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Not Raleigh. Well, Raleigh too. I hadn't finalized that one yet, but in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on July the 25th, which is Friday. And we will be premiering the My Dear movie and doing the symposium there as well. And we are probably finalized today the location for a date in Raleigh, North Carolina while I'm there as well, which would be July the 26th in Raleigh. Yep. So that's what we got coming. We got another one in Orlando in September. Another one, I think, is in October, I think, in the Bay Area of California, I believe. Another one I think that's October again, like the 2nd of October in Chicago. I'm missing one. But so kind of what Tamara said, we are working to take this around the country and really help people. It's the app is virtually allows you to reach out and get help without having to ask somebody or talk to an individual. But when we do those face-to-face events, like the live premiere and the symposium, that's face-to-face interaction. And for those people who may not be, comfortable using an app, right? Or who more positively, I can say it this way, who are comfortable with actually talking to a person about a mental health disorder that they may be dealing with, those live events that we do provides a perfect opportunity for that to happen. Because keep in mind, those mental health care providers that make up the panel are from that particular city. And so they can get it both ways. Mm-hmm.
That is great. Now, and for people who are wanting to get information, can you state where your website, how they can get the, get the app?
Yes, ma'am. They can just download the app, and from there they can get to the website of where the movie is going to be playing at, where the symposium dates are at, and just download Getting My Help. And once you download that, I'm going to pull it up right now.
And are you able to see the movie as well? Can people go on your site and see, or do they have to come to one of your events to actually see the movie?
Yeah, they have to go to an event. They have to go. And people, like we did one in Tyler, Texas, and everybody wanted to see the movie and we showed the movie, but several people wanted to see it again and ask how could they see it? Because, if we put it out there for public to see it, then the draw to help people to want to come to actually get the information is not necessarily there. And we came about doing it this way, this method, because we've shown it to, kind of when you testing your movie out, see what the response that people are going to give you, whether they like it or not like it. Is it accomplishing the mission? And so when we did that in the early stages, I kept having people that were reaching out to me, like the movie would be over. And like this one guy, he was crying a lot throughout the movie. And he came up to me after the film and, shared some stuff with me about why he got so emotional during the film. And I was like, you know what, that's good. And then he's not the only one. We showed in Vegas and had another guy same thing, and had women, same thing. And so I said, man, this is good. This is what you want to happen. But I saw it as an excellent opportunity to say, okay, the people, after they see the film, they're open up, they're realizing, they have some untreated issues in their life that still is haunting them. And so what if we could have a environment where people could instantly, talk to a mental health care provider,
Right.
a therapist right here on the spot, right? And so when we do these events, the hardest thing I think for people to realize is that when I tell them I'm not trying to have 1,000 people at the event, because everybody, you have an event, you're like, oh, well, the more the merrier. But understand with this, we don't want to lose the intimacy where people are more comfortable opening up about what they're dealing with, right? And sometimes the bigger the crowd is, the harder it is for that individual to open up.
Right.
Right. And so,
Right.
some places, everybody has the right to how they want to do it, of course, because I'm in their city and they helping us do it. I mean, so some places, we work with a lot of churches, and some of the churches, they want to have 1,000 people there. And it's totally fine. It so far, we have those big crowds, it's still going to get a response, but you lose the intimacy of where people may not feel as comfortable opening up in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
And
Actually getting help. Right.
exactly. And the small crowds makes it easier to produce as well. Where the budget is smaller, all things are smaller. And so people say, well, how many months in advance do we need to plan it? While I'm sitting here, a mayor of a small city in Texas, we were just texting, and he wants to have it come to his city. And we just started talking about it last week, and we're planning on doing it in August, right? Early part of August. So because again, we're only talking about 100 people. We're not having to get 1,000 people in a room.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And Tamara, on your product, are your designs available where people can purchase online, or are they all custom orders? Tell us how we can get your product.
Right now, because I hand make every one.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. So my goal right now is to get some licensing deals since I got the patent now. So
Okay.
I'm working on that, and I'm starting from the top. So I'm walking into Louis Vuitton, I'm walking into Coach, I'm walking into all these entities, but
I
I'm
love that.
still able to have creative control and make what the people want.
Okay.
So I have inventory about 200 hats, but I can sit down with a person and develop what they want, create exactly what they want.
Okay.
So all they have to do is reach me, and I'm very reachable.
Okay.
All they have to do is Google in hashtag flip the hat, and all of my social medias will come up.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. And to collaborate on expound on what Mr. Greg was speaking about going from city to city. We are coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I was born and raised. I'm working with Mr. Mario right now to bring him there to Tulsa.
Awesome. Okay.
So hopefully we'll have him there in Tulsa before the year is up.
Well, I look forward to seeing you come here, but I want to see you everywhere.
Yes.
I think your concept is absolutely awesome. It is so needed. It is right now, and I'm really excited to have you both come on and share today. And again, I just want you, before we close out, just one more time, each of you say where people can reach you, because that is so important, because they're going to want to reach out.
Yeah. Tam, you want to say yours first, or?
You can go ahead first.
Okay, good. On Instagram, I'm at the Greg Ellis 98. So on Instagram, just go to the Greg Ellis 98. On Facebook, just Greg Ellis on Facebook. And please, I am not a social media guru. I'll put that out there. but I know the followers, the support, the likes, the loves, all that stuff helps in what we're doing in our efforts. So, I mean, then it helps too. So when we go to a different city, we can put it out on our social media platforms. And so you can get notified that we're there. And if you want to see us or, meet with us or anything, that's an excellent way to keep up with where myself or Tamara are going to be doing an event at.
Sounds great. And again, Greg, one more time, how can they download the app?
They can simply just type in getting, so GETTING, my help, HELP, getting my help. Go to your app store. Thank God we've had enough downloads where somebody was downloading the other day and he was like, oh man, it's the first one that came up. So I don't know exactly how that part works, but it sounds like it's easy now, easier. You have people to just start typing in getting and it maybe pop up pretty quick that way. And so again, just getting my help is free. Now the services up there aren't always free because I can't control those healthcare providers. But again, that's one thing we're working on is to create a pro bono section of resources as well. So again, it all takes money. And so, if you want to donate, please, you can go on the app. It got places for you to donate. If you're on the app, go to our wall of love. I would encourage you to do that. And the reason why I would encourage you to do that, because on the wall of love, you donate at least $45 and then you get to leave your name on the wall of love. And so you're able to, as the young people say, to have receipts of letting people know that you really do support the mental wellness movement. And they say, well, how do we know you support it? What are you doing? You can whip out your phone, pull up that app, click the wall of love, stroll up, find your name and say, here is my proof that I put my money where my mouth is, and I am a supporter of mental wellness.
That's awesome. And Tamara, how can we join the Flip the Hat movement? Just one more time, if you can share that.
Yes. As a final thought from Flip the Hat, mental health awareness isn't just a trend. It's a lifeline. When we shine a light on mental health, we help people see their value, feel less alone, and choose life over fear. And that's why I created Flip the Hat, just to remind us all that healing starts with the mind, and fashion can help start with that conversation as we're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can find me with just putting in hashtag Flip the Hat. I'm on TikTok, Tamara's Flip the Hat. So anything with hashtag Flip the Hat, you're going to find me.
That is fantastic. Well, I thank you both. I thank you for your time. We will certainly keep this conversation going, and I will be watching and would love to have you back and continue to support what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. I sure appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you both. Thank you so much. And again, happy Juneteenth.